Hey, it's Kev, the audio guy, bringing you short, informative videos, in plain English, on how to create clean, creative audio. Okay, Arturia is a company that is known and respected for making impeccable software models of classic gear. They have just released a 3-effect modulation bundle. The 3 devices they chose to model were the ADA flanger, the Neutron biphase, and the Roland Dimension D. Now, I've spent a lot of time back in the day with these 3 boxes, so I must admit, I was skeptical as to how close anyone could get to the sound of the original products. So I download the demo, spend about an hour with the bundle, and I have only one word to say to Arturia. Bravo! These products can be used on instruments, drums, vocals. But for this demo, I used them on virtual guitars. You know what? Let's just get to that demo track. Here we go. Yes, let's break down how I did this. There are 4 guitar parts in this track. On 3 of the tracks, each guitar uses a different modulation effect. Let's start with the intro guitar. Okay, the guitar sounds good, but I felt it needed a modulation effect and some reverb to make it breathe and sound a bit more natural. Let's turn on the Phasor Bi-Tron and get a look at it. And it opens. My starting point was the dual square movement preset. So let's click up here on our presets and let's go to that. Dual square movement is here. I select it. And good. The Bi-Tron is basically 2 phase shifters that can be connected together in multiple ways. How they're connected is controlled right down here in the routing window. So I click on the routing window and we see our options. The option I want is the first one, mono parallel. This option puts Phasor A in the left speaker and Phasor B in the right. I'll play the track while I switch this setting. Okay, big difference, especially if you're listening on headphones. Next, I'll click on the Phasor Bi-Tron label right here. And I see additional independent controls for each phaser, Phasor A and B. I am interested in the poles controls right here. Poles control frequency notch depth, or in plain English, the intensity of each phaser. There are also mix controls right here in the center. These control the blend of direct and effect sound. I want a gentle phasing sound, so I'll select the poles on each phaser to 2. And I'll set my mix controls to 40.4. Again, I'm going for subtle, so I'll turn down my modulation depth control of Phasor A right here to 3. Let's hear that. Okay, almost there. Next, let's activate the pedal. I'll switch my sweep control right down here to the pedal setting. Okay, let's create some automated pedal moves. I'll double click over here on my electric sunburst clip and the waveform view appears. Next, let's click right down here on the Show Hide Envelopes box. I now see my envelopes box. I want to automate that pedal, so our top pull down menu, right up here, should be set to Phasor Bi-Tron, and it is. And our bottom pull down menu, right here, should be set to pedal manual depth. So I see pedal manual depth right here, and I select it. Let's change our grid resolution now to half notes. So I right click in the grid and I select half notes. And we see the grid lines change to a different resolution. Good. Let's highlight a half note duration, right click, and we see envelope shapes in the bottom of this window. Let's select the 4th one over. We now see an automation envelope drawn into our track. It's still highlighted, so let's press Command D 15 times to copy it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we now have 16 envelopes. Let's play this. Nice. I want my pedal movements to be a bit more subtle, so I'll highlight the envelopes by clicking in this window and selecting Command A for Select All. I can now hover over the top of this waveform and a setting of 1.0 appears. Let's click and drag this down to 0.3. Let's now go back up to our track title, double click on the name, and right down here we see plugin boxes for a Phasor Bi-Tron and for the Native Instruments RC24 reverb unit. Let's turn on the reverb and let's hear this. Much better. Let's close the biphase menu up here and let's move on to our next track. So let's turn off this track. Next, I have two guitar tracks that need to be balanced against each other. Here's the first track. And here's the second track, a Native Instruments Sunburst Electric. Okay, next I'll play the tracks together, but to give them a bit of clarity, I'll pan each track symmetrically away from the other. Okay, that helps, but my Sunburst Electric needs a slightly different sound to give it some individuality. For that, I'll add the BL20 flanger. So we'll select that second track. Let's turn this one off, turn on the flanger, and let's get a look at it. Like most people, when I first open a new plugin, I just start listening to the presets. The presets here are exceptional. I was looking for a sound with a subtle stereo image and ended up on stereo spread set with manual right down here. So let's select it. Cool. The control mode section right here determines how this flanger is being modulated. We're currently set to manual, so if you rotate this manual knob right here, there's a world of tonal possibilities. Let's hear this. Okay, another modulation option is the auto button right here. Let's turn manual off and turn auto on. Now to see its modulation options, I'll go right up here to these double arrows and I'll click. And a modulation window opens. Now there's a world of modulation options here. You can draw your own waveforms. You can select waveform options in the auto shape box here. But for this guitar sound, I'm happy with the orange wave shape right here. Let's hear that. Okay, it still sounds a little thick, so let's flange only the higher frequencies of this guitar by adjusting our high pass control right here. Let's play both guitar tracks while I adjust this, and I'll also add a bit of reverb to this track. So let's turn on the other guitar, turn on the reverb, and here we go. That sounds good. Let's close this. My final guitar track is some acoustic guitar harmonics with a big reverb sound. Let's select it and let's hear just this track. Okay, and now with our two other guitars. Okay, it's a little soft, so it's definitely going to get buried in the mix once I add the keyboard tracks. But I don't necessarily want it louder than the keyboard sound, I want it wider than the keyboard sound. To give those guitar harmonics some space, let's turn on the chorus dimension D right here. Let's look at it, and let's turn on my keyboard tracks. Okay, there's not that many controls up here, so no need to go to a preset. I'll create this sound manually. Button 3 right here gives me my deepest chorus effect, so I'll click it. If I add button 4, it gives me a bit less of the dry signal and a bit more of the modulated effect signal, so the sound will be a bit more transparent. I'll click it. From there, I go to my double arrows right up here and click. I now see my advanced options controls right down here. I want the sound to be smooth, so I'll select the sine wave as my modulation shape. For the harmonic sound, it seems to sound darkest and most transparent when I set the dynamic color right here to LF SAT2. Okay, I know what you're thinking. Why is Kev moving all these buttons but not playing anything so we can hear the difference? Good question. Because these are subtle effects, you may have to make a few changes before you hear a significant difference. That being said, it's now time for the magic bullet. Right here is our width control. I'll move it from the stereo position to the S position while I play the track. Now this is cool. As the width knob moves closer to the S setting, you'll actually hear those harmonics float out of the mix. Let's add the drums. Now the bass. That's it. Thanks so much for watching, and please subscribe.